Now, that corner can make all three plays, or be a factor on all three plays, if he will watch the one guy that knows who's going to get the football. Okay, and so I don't want him to run up and jump on that guy and let him throw the ball in the hole right there. I want him to sink, make him. Now, as soon as that quarterback turns those shoulders, he shouldn't wait for the ball to be thrown. He should release. I have never seen in the game, I've never seen this happen. I've never seen the guy look here, turn to throw in the flat, and turn back, throw back downfield. Because how do quarterbacks read? They read from up, down, right? They read from up, down, which means he's going to look, he can't throw the ball, the time's running out, the pocket's collapsing. What's he going to do? He's going to turn, and when he turns, he's going to dump it. That corner's sinking back. When he turns those shoulders, boom! He ought to go right now because that's where the ball's going. Okay? Alright. Read the ball on and off the line of scrimmage in the quarterback's hand, and it's a pass until you know it's a run. Alright, now. Let's see what it's saying. Alright. Run the play, and I'll block the play. Two-man route. All right. It's straight down there, man. It's a little bit harder to pull it off like this. Okay. Now, let's run through these quickly. The next thing for the secondary guys is when the ball's in the air, it belongs to the Bears or the Tigers or the Giants or whoever you're coaching. Play the football. Now, the ball will take you to the receiver. A receiver will not necessarily take you to the ball. I'm a linebacker, okay? I take my drop. I set. There's a guy comes in. Come here, Coach, just a second. Guy comes in and runs a curl. Come down. Okay? Now, I'm watching the quarterback just like you told him, right? You told him to read the quarterback, but when that quarterback turns to throw the ball, what does he do? He turns, and where does his eyes go? To the receiver, right? And now he's running to the ball, and if the receiver's any good, what does the receiver do? He goes back to the ball, right? Like all good receivers. And so what happens now, not only does he not get the ball, he's not in a good position to make the tackle. The guy catches it and goes under. And then back to do the same thing again. Right here. And right here. Now, if he breaks and he watches the ball, and he goes to the ball, what's going to happen? He and the receiver at an intersecting point are going to have a collision, or if the receiver gets there before him, he will at least be coming on an angle that's going to give him a chance to play the foot, to hit the receiver and make the tackle. The ball will take you to the receiver. The receiver will not necessarily take you to the ball. We want to play the football. The next thing we want to get our linebackers and secondary people to do is to compete for every ball. Don't believe that you can't make a play. Now, if you're an underneath defender, if you're a flat player, if you're a linebacker, we want you to always go for the interception and always go for the big hit. Okay? Now, if you're a deep defender, you can't do that. If you're a deep defender, sometimes discretion is a better part of valor. You can't just go gambling as a deep guy, because if you mess it up, then it's going to be a touchdown. Okay? But if I'm a linebacker or a flat defender, always go for the big play. Always go for the interception. Always go for the big hit. We want to play the playmakers. We talked about this earlier. Playmakers are the guys that make plays. They're the guys you want to get in the game. We're going to get next thing we try to sell our guys on is this. Don't count on your ability winning for you. I think this is the hardest thing as a high school football coach that you have to coach, or as a junior high school football coach. It's the hardest thing I have to coach as a college football coach. We get guys who are highly recruited, they have great ability, they come in and they want to just play on their ability. I have a guy that's going to be a senior free safety. He'll probably be the best free safety in America this year. He's 6'3", 215 pounds, was a quarterback up until the fall 2 years ago. He has been a big playmaker, but he's hurt us sometimes because he's been a guy that played on athletic ability. He played at a real small high school. He just got back here and he played what I call street ball. He didn't play technique. He didn't always execute the defense. When the ball was snapped, he just wanted to run and make plays. Don't count on your ability to win for you. If you become a great technique player, your technique will win for you, and then your ability will take you to another level. Your ability will make you a great player. The team that prepares the best and is the most aggressive wins. That's the bottom line, guys. Players win the games, but the coaches give the players a chance to win the game. The team that prepares the best and the most aggressively wins the game. Remember the 5 P's? We talked about this earlier. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. That's one of the 2 things I got out of the service that made me happy, the other being me. Remember the 5 P's. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. If you prepare to win, you will have a chance to win. You are either preparing to win or you're preparing to lose. You're preparing to succeed or you're preparing to fail. Those are the only options that you have. Now, we talk about coverage in our defense. There are 4 things that cause you to have great pass coverage. Number 1 is diversity. If you line up and cover 3, ever down, the other team will throw the best pass against that coverage that they have. Now, maybe you can defend it, but if they know what coverage you're going to be in, you're going to get their best pass, that the pass they think is the best against that coverage. Every coverage has a weakness, just like every coverage has strengths. So one of the things you got to be able to do, I believe, is play cover 3, play cover 2, play a little man, mix it up. Don't let the quarterback and the receiver leave the line of scrimmage knowing what coverage they're throwing against. Make them make some decisions after the ball snaps. The next thing is disguise. We're going to do one of 2 things. We are going to line up, and it's going to look like we're playing quarter halves, and we may be playing man, we may be playing 2, we may be playing quarter, we may be playing double quarters, we may be blitzed, or in our nickel package, we're going to line up with the corners bumping and 8 guys on the line of scrimmage, just like this, like we're blitzing, and then we're going to run out and play coverage, or we're going to blitz. We are going to have some disguise. We aren't just going to line up in cover 3 and show it to the quarterback and let him shoot at our head all day. You got to have diversity. You got to have disguise. I think the next thing that we in high school and college do the very poorest job of is you need to reroute receivers. What do you constantly hear and see happening in the NFL? They keep taking away the defense's opportunity to do what? Hit receivers, right? They keep changing the bump rule. You can't hit them after 5. You can't hit them after 3. They're going to let them wear tuxedos out there when they keep going. Every time one of them breathes on them, they throw the flag. Now, we don't have that rule in high school, and we don't have it in college. We don't take advantage of the rule we have. Why did they change the rule to let you hit receivers? Because they couldn't score any points, right? They want to score points to sell tickets. Every rule that's made in pro football is to help the offense be successful. Every rule that's made in college football is to let the offense be successful. There's a plot to get all the damn defensive coordinators fired. That's what they're trying to do. Now, we need to reroute the receivers. Let me tell you why. Passing game's all based on what? time, right? Quarterback takes the ball, 1, 2, 3. Receiver's supposed to be in a certain place, right? He takes the ball, he goes 4, 5. Now you're going to get, 1, 2, 3, you're going to get the quick game. You're going to get the hitch, the out, the slant, maybe just lay it up real quick. They go to 5 steps, now you're going to get the flat, the curl, a little bit deeper stuff, right? They go to 7 steps, they going downtown, or for us, we're going to get those deep 18, 20-yard square. Now, all of a sudden, the receiver, quarterback takes the ball, 1, 2, 3, and the corner who he thought was playing soft has rolled up and jammed the quick game. Now what happens? Now they get those sided feet, right? Start jacking that ball off. Now, we need to take advantage of hitting the receiver. We're going to tell our linebackers this, okay? We don't want you to leave your drop to hit anybody. What happens to you, your guys will be like this, and ours are too. If you tell them to hit the receiver, some guy will come across about 2 yards deep, and they're going to try to run up and bump, okay? What we want them to understand is we want you to take your drop, and anybody you can hit without taking you out of your drop, we want you to hit them. If you've got to go out of your pass coverage to hit them, then we don't want to hit them. Another thing I think that helps is this. We're going to design the field and like this for our players. Hopefully they'll understand what we're talking about. There's an area within 4 yards of the line of scrimmage we call the no-cover zone. And there's an area 6 yards from the sideline that we call the reaction zone. Now, here's why. Anybody that crosses in that zone, when we're in zone coverage, we're not going to come up to hit them. Our philosophy is if we're in zone coverage, linebackers, we want every ball to be caught in front of you, okay? We don't want you running up standing on the guy 4 yards deep unless you catch a 15-yard hook or a 12-yard hook behind you, okay? If we want to cover those passes, what are we going to do? We're going to get man coverage, right? We're going to get man coverage. Now, the reaction zone is the area 6 yards from the sideline. Here's what we're trying to do, guys. The field is 53 1/3 yards wide, right? If you're playing a 3D zone, you have 4 defenders, they have 5 receivers. You're asking your defenders to defend a zone and a half. We are trying to take away 12 yards of the width of the field, okay? And now the field is 41 yards wide. And what we're saying is that we can break from 6 yards to the boundary. We don't want to get inside that 6 yards area and be covering out of bounds, okay? So what I'm saying to you, if I was a corner as an example, and I had outside leverage, and the guy's coming, keeps getting wide, I'm going to weave back inside of him and use the sideline to help defend him. Okay? All right? And the last thing, as I said, you need diversity, you need disguise, you need to reroute receivers, and you need pressure. There's nothing in football that changes the game for the quarterback like pressure. And if you're afraid to blitz, if you're afraid to change up, if you're afraid to speed the game up, if you're playing a good quarterback and you let him sit and hold the football, and you won't pressure the quarterback, then you're going to be in for a long afternoon. Coach and play aggressively and don't be afraid of failure. I think that one of the biggest mistakes that all of us make as coaches and players is that we're afraid to fail, and we coach players to be afraid to fail. That's the biggest fear that players have. It isn't of getting hurt. It isn't of, their fear is that they're not going to be successful, that they're going to look foolish, that things aren't going to happen well for them, and we've got to help guide them. We've got to help guide them through that fear. That's our job as coaches. to help guide us through that. Okay. Now, yeah.
In the earlier talk, you said that when you first started running blitzes, you wanted to keep your corners off. You were real comfortable with it. And they started bringing them up. And I don't know if it's the right time for you to deal with this. You can come back to it later to maybe think of it. Just how do you deal with when you bring those guys up out of the corner? How do you maintain that defense?
Well, what happens is when they run you off playing man, anytime we're blitzing, somebody else has got to pitch it. Those guys can't obviously play man and contain, have any kind of contain. And you certainly, coach, when you are in more danger if the ball breaks the line of scrimmage, you're in more danger of giving up a long run because you have in fact lost some of your second line of defense. In fact, you may have lost it all. But, if we're going to blitz, whoever's got could be our outside backers, or if we have a stun or something, whoever's rushing outside's got to pitch on the option tank. We're never going to give those guys in man cover any kind of contain. And what we try to do is if we have a free safety or a linebacker, we try to call run, and get them off the blitz. But I would be less than honest if I told you that we get that done all the time. We don't. That's something we strive to do, but we don't necessarily do. So let's just talk about secondary fundamentals a little bit to start with, okay? And I'm going to talk about man-to-man, I'm going to talk about zone, I'm going to talk about linebacker. First of all, I don't think we do a good job making defensive backs understand what cushion is. If you would ask your guys, what is cushion? I'd be surprised if they really, if you just said, you know what cushion is? And, oh, yeah, you know what it is. Well, tell me, what is cushion? They don't know. Cushion is the distance between you and the receiver up and down the field, okay? Now, there are two bad things that can happen to a defensive back. The first one is not to have enough cushion. Because if you don't have enough cushion, what's going to happen to you? They're going to run by you, right? The second worst thing for a defensive back is to have too much cushion. And then the game's over and the defensive secondary coach comes in and the coordinator comes in. Coach, I tell you, they didn't throw none over our heads tonight. And no, they threw for 416 yards up in front of us, but they didn't throw any of them over our head. I mean, we got to make some plays on the ball. Now, one of the things that I see happening, and I think this is one of the most common things that you see happening, is this. Let's say that you line your guys up 7 yards deep. Okay? Let's say you line them up 8 yards deep. I'll give you another yard. Say you line up 8 yards deep, okay? You'd like to play with a 3-yard cushion, right? That's really what you like. Basically, you'd like to always keep a 2 to 3 yard cushion depending on how good this guy is. But I'm going to say a 3-yard cushion. All right, now, that means that this defensive back has 5 yards of cushion to give up, right? Now, the test of how good a player he is for him to give this cushion up when he wants to give it up, not when the other guy wants to take it. Okay? Now, here's the two biggest mistakes that defensive backs make. The guy lines up 8 yards deep. Okay? On the snap of the ball, what's the first thing he does? Hard, right? Comes out of there, and now he's got a 9 or 10 yard cushion. And they throw the quick game. So now, he's 9 or 10 yards off of this guy, and the guy catches the ball and becomes a runner. Now, what we say to our guys is this. When they throw the ball in the flat, or they throw the quick game, we want to tackle those guys while they're still receivers, before they have a chance to become a runner. You understand what I'm saying? In other words, it's not hard to tackle a guy that goes down and runs a hook and tackle him right now, right? But if I had a 9 yard cushion and he catches it, squares those shoulders up this way, now I got my hands full to close, to take that cushion away from him, to break down and tackle him, and what happened if he's in man coverage, where's everybody else probably going? Probably going that way, right? There's not a lot of people coming like this, because most of them probably going in that direction, okay? Now, where do you need the least cushion? The closer the ball is to the line of scrimmage, you need less cushion. Why? Because the ball stays in the air less time, right? So here's what we tell our secondary guys. We're going to always read the quarterback with a three-step drop. Okay? By that, I don't care if we're in zone or we're in man or whatever. We're going to line up and we're either going to walk out, some of them do that, or we're going to come out slow and read the quarterback, because I want to be in a position, if they throw the three-step drop and throw a hook, I want to see that three-step drop and be in a position to make that play. Now, here's what we tell this guy, okay? You read the three-step drop. As soon as you read the three-step drop, your eyes go back on that receiver until you secure his route. By that, now I'm going to attack this receiver, and I'm going to look at him until I secure his route. If you don't do that, you get hurt on what? Pump and goes, right, out and up, hook and goes. You know, they're looking back, they don't get a good angle. Okay, so we're going to key the quarterback for the three-step drop. Now, once he goes through the three-step drop, now I'm playing man cover. I've got my eyes on his belt buckle. I'm going to keep my cushion. I'm going to keep my leverage. I'm going to keep my center of gravity over my feet. If I feel like he's threatening me, I'm going to flip my hips over and get in my crossover. Okay? So I want to keep my cushion. I don't want too much cushion. I don't want too little cushion. All right?
Always turn to protection. Okay? Protect it. So that we got this look here.
Now, here's the way for the linebacker. Okay? Here's our pattern read principle. All right?
We're going to try and
Back here first down. Now, so that's what cushion is. Everybody understand that? Now, what's the next thing that you got to do? You got to keep lessons, right? Now, first of all, do your players know why they're lining up inside? Do they know why they're lining up outside? Now, a lot of people will say to me, well, if you don't have help, do you always line up inside? No. We're going to line up most of the time based on the split of the receiver. If you will take the film and study the film, you will see that the people you play, the splits of their receivers will tell you where they're going most of the time. If the ball is on the hash mark, this hash mark, and the receiver split on that hash mark, most of the time, what's he going to do? He's going to go deep or he's going to run it out, right? If the ball is on this hash mark and that receiver's on the numbers, is he going to run it out? Not unless this guy's got a judge machine for an arm, right?
And they're like this. There's no.
So we're going to line up, and basically what I tell our guys is take their room away from them. If there's more room inside, line up inside. If there's more room outside, line up outside. Now, but again, what I see happening all the time, and it happens to our guys too, I see guys lined up inside, outside, and on the snap of the ball, the receiver comes off and stems, and they're on the inside. Didn't do any good to line up outside. Or I see them lined up inside, and the receiver stems at their leverage and takes it away from them, and now they're sitting on the guy's outside shoulder. It's just as important that you keep your leverage as it is that you keep your cushion. In order to do that, you have to weave. Now, here's something that I think will help. For years and years, when we weaved, I taught guys to do this, to turn their butt and do that. Okay, and some of y'all may do the same thing. And that's the way to do it. The problem is this. When I weave this way, I'm keeping my leverage, but what am I losing? I'm losing some cushion because I'm not going back very much, right? A kid that played for me in the NFL about 10 years ago changed my mind and made me decide this was the best way to weave. And what you do is you're backpedaling, and all you do is just take your right foot, and as you're backing up, you slide over. Now, it's not a big old step, You know, I'm backing like this. Now I'm just going to take that foot. Now what happens, I'm just gaining my width, but I'm also keeping my leverage. Now the drill we do 2 or 3 times a week to teach them how to do that, which I think is a good one, is this. We're going to take the receiver and we're going to put him on the hash mark. We're going to take a DB and sit him right there. The receiver is going to run for the numbers at about 15 yards. That DB has got to keep his leverage on that guy all the way. See what I'm saying? In other words, that receiver is lined up on the hash in here. I'm lined up with outside leverage. He's going to start and run for the numbers, but he's going to run at about a 15-yard step. What I'm trying to do now is stay down in here, keep my leverage, and keep my cushion. Then I'm going to put the receiver on the numbers like this, and now he's going to run for the hash mark at about a 15-yard depth. He's going to have inside leverage, and he's going to keep his leverage inside. Now, I don't like for those guys to not stay square. I like, especially when we're in man coverage, I don't like them to turn their hips. I don't like them to turn their hips if they can help it. The longer they can stay square, then the better you can play routes. Okay, any questions on cushion and leverage? All right. Now, let's talk about backpedaling. Okay? Let's talk about backpedaling. Now, the guys that are good backpedalers, this is what happens. Running backwards is just like running forward. The same skills that allow you to run backwards successfully allow you to run forward. Here's what I don't want to see when they backpedal. One, I don't want to see their feet wide. Have you ever seen a guy run a 100-yard dash like this? You're not likely to either. And yet I see guys all the time backpedaling like that. The second thing is that you don't want your feet to come up off the ground. I don't like that drill our strength coach does, you know, when we do that butt kick deal, because I don't want our guys to kick their feet up. The guys that I've had that are great backpedalers, their feet never leave the ground. Their feet rub the ground. If you stand behind a good backpedaler, it sounds like this. It sounds like rubbing a railroad pad, like that, because their feet are rubbing, okay? The next thing about good backpedalers, their ankles almost rub. Their feet are almost together. Their ankles almost rub, okay? Now, the same things that allow you to run forward allow you to run backwards. If you want to run faster running forward, what do you do to speed up? You lengthen your stride, and what else? Drive your arms, right? The same thing running backwards. If I want to run backwards further, I do it by accelerating my arms and by lengthening my stride. Okay? Now, the other thing in backpedaling is this. I want to keep my center of gravity over my feet. I want to bend up and slant flex. If I had a spring tied to my nose, if I dropped a rock, it ought to land on my big toe. Now, if you watch your film, here's what happens to the DBs. First thing the ball snap, what they want to do. Right? I want to, and also, is when I line them up, if I was the left corner, I'm not going to line up square like this. Because I found over the years, when you line them up square, if they're going to run backwards, the first thing they think is they ought to do what? They ought to put their weight on their back foot, right? Because obviously it makes sense. If I'm going to go back here, I'd be better to be like this. But what happens when my weight's right here, if I want to go back there, what I have to do? So then you just stand behind your guys and you'll see them false stepping. When they do that, they're losing cushion. I want to turn slightly in because for whatever reason they don't false step as best. I want to weight on my front foot. I want to push off of this foot. And I want this foot to come down behind my heel. I don't want to go that. I want this foot to come down behind my hip. Now I push with this foot, and I pull with this foot. Okay, my center of gravity is over my feet. Now, my elbows are in. If I was sprinting and I did this, what would happen to my body? Right? If I'm running backwards and I'm doing this, what happens to my body? It's not any different. Okay? Everybody see that? Now, let's move on into the linebacker stuff. Okay, let me go back into a couple of other things too while I think about it for the defensive back out. Okay? Now, we will also allow our guys to play in their crossover. By that, I don't mind at all. When do you get beat? When does somebody usually run by a guy? When he's turning over, right? I'm backing up, here comes the guy, and I try to turn over, and my momentum's not going, and then he runs by, okay? So what we tell our guys, anytime you feel threatened, your cushion is threatened, get in your crossovers, turn your hips, stay down in here. That doesn't mean you're turning and running. You can still play routes out of here. Get in your crossovers, because now you gotta go deep. That's the hard part done. Right? I've got the hard part done. Everybody understand that? All right. The third thing that you need to teach them to do, I think, is how to do a center field turn. When I first started coaching, they always said to me, don't ever lose sight of the ball. And it took me a long time to understand that when you try to run to the post, plant your foot, and turn back like this, all you do is watch the ball go over your head for a touchdown. There aren't very many people that have that kind of athletic ability. So what we're going to do is if we're running to the post, we're going to throw our head and throw our arm and whip our head back around. Now, if you do it the other way, guys, it's a three-step maneuver. You're going to the post, you plant your foot, you open back up, it's 1, 2, 3, get going. You do it this way, you run into the post, you turn with your upper body, you don't turn with your feet. The mistake my guys make, they won't plan to do that. You're running full speed, if you'll throw your head, throw your arm, your body will turn, and in one step, you're going to go back where you want to go. Okay? Now, anything on backpedaling, crossovers, the last thing let me share with you on the secondary, guys, because I think it's critical, is this. There are a lot of ways to get out of your backpedaling. For years and years, I taught this. Back up, plant your foot, and drive. It's really hard when you're backing up to plant your foot and not have what happened. I'd have that, right? The other thing that I didn't like about that was, let's say I'm the left corner, and I'm backing up, and the guy runs out, and this foot's back. What can I not do? I can't plant till what happened here. Well, actually, this foot back, I can't plant till I get this foot back, right? So I got to take another step. So here's what we teach now. We're going to back up. If I'm going to break this foot, okay, I'm going to throw my chest on the ground. I'm backing up. I'm going to throw my chest, and I'm going to run out of the break like this. Like that. I'm going to speed my feet up. I'm not going to try to plant my foot. And our guys still want to do this. They still want to get that long step back and stop themselves. You're worse off doing this than you are this, because you don't have as much surface area. But if you come back, if you'll just run them speed, then you can run right out of your break without any problem. All right, anything else about that? All right, let's talk about the pattern read principle. We number, this is for the linebacker. We number the receivers from outside in. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. Now, when they change positions on the field, they change numbers. Now, let me explain that. If 2 goes out and 1 comes in, 2 becomes 1 and 1 becomes 2. Now, the reason we do this, guys, it's easy now to communicate We've tried pattern reading. Basically what our rule right now is, and I'll draw it up later, our sound backer, you drop over number 2. Our mic backer drops over number 3, and our wheel backer drops over number 2. And then depending on what cover, what they do after that. Alright, now, when 2 comes inside, he automatically becomes number 3. Because we believe this, if he goes inside, if he comes out, where's he going? Outside, right? So as soon as 2 comes inside, he becomes 3. Okay, because we know that if the original 2 comes out, the original 3 comes out, he's going to come outside and become number 1 or number 2. Okay? We're a matchup zone pass coverage team. The best way I can describe our linebacker coverage is to tell you that if you coach basketball and you coach matchup zone, that's what we do. In other words, I'm going to drop to an area, I'm going to drop over a receiver, and as soon as somebody comes in my zone, I'm going to clamp on that guy in my zone. As soon as I figure out who's in my zone. We're playing man in my zone for this reason. When I first started coaching in college, we field dropped. You know, you got the hash, you got the middle, you got the hash. People throw the ball so well that we have to get closer to the receiver. You know, our guys can be 2 or 3 yards from the ball. You know, that stuff about how you used to talk about break and whip your arm and have on the ball. They can't get there. They throw it back. And so we just got to match up and get a little bit closer on the receiver. Here's something, guys, that you can make your players understand. It'll save you a lot of problems. There are really 2 basic philosophies in the passing game, right? They're going to attack you inside and outside, or they're going to attack you high and low. As an example, if you're the strong safety in cover 3, if you're the strong safety in cover 3, they're going to put a guy inside of you and a guy outside of you, right? The other way they're going to attack you is like this. They're going to take a corner in cover 2, and they're going to put a guy behind you and a guy in front of you. Now, what we try to make our linebackers understand is this. If there is a guy in front of you, there is a guy behind you, whether you can see him or not. One of the big deals in college football is this. They're going to take it back, and they're going to run him down in front of that linebacker and run about a 20-yard in square in behind him. Okay? To get the linebacker to come up and create a big area between him and the secondary. Now, you need to understand this about the linebackers and the secondary. The linebackers have got to close things off this way, and the secondary has got to close things off this way. If the linebackers get back 8 yards and just stop, and the receivers keep running down the field, what happens to the area between the linebackers and the secondary? It gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, right? So our linebackers have to understand, when I get back and settle, if the ball is thrown over it, I better start backing up, right? Because those DBs are backing up. And the DBs need to understand that if anybody's pushing down the field, I got to do what? I got to back up. But as soon as everything in front of me breaks off, I need to do what? I need to settle, right? I need to settle and quit getting depth. Because if I don't, the linebacker sit, and I got a 15-yard cushion. There's a dead spot in there that we just can't cover. Okay? All right, now. Anything on the pattern read? Okay. Now, we'll talk about some drills for the secondary and drills for the linebackers. All right? Now, here's the warm-up drills we pretty much start out. This is how we start out with secondary guys every day. The first thing we're going to do is, I don't throw enough balls to DBs, and you don't either. I mean, you just don't have time in practice to do enough ball drills. So we're going to do this. we come out, and I'm over here, and I've got about 3 or 4 footballs and somebody to hand them to me. The DB's lined up on the other side of the field, going across the field. The first thing they do is they just run straight across and break to the left. Okay? I just do this. I start them, they break to the left, I turn, throw the football. They got to go pass the ball, they got to catch it, tuck it away, 5 pressure points, and score. So basically what happens, they're running across about 3/4, and they break, they can turn it on. Okay, because you don't need to practice catching balls unless you're going to game speed. Okay, so they break, and I throw the ball. I want to stress catching the ball at the highest point. They all want to wait on the ball. They want to turn their hands this way. If the ball's above the waist, we're going to try to catch it in a V with our thumbs up. If the ball belongs below the waist, we're going to get our little fingers together and try to catch the ball. We're going to catch it, tuck it away, and it's going to run by me. All right, then we're going to come back and do the same thing. 2 things I'm accomplishing right now. 1, they're getting to catch some footballs, and 2, I'm loosening them up, getting them ready for practice, right? They come back across, and they break that way, so that gives them the opposite break, right? All right, the next thing they do then is they carry over. All right, so now what they do, they come out and they come about halfway like this. You know, we carry over, they turn, out like this, I call ball. Ball up over their head and make them jump. We don't have to do bad ball drills because I'm getting to that stage throwing the ball where I just can throw natural and they get enough bad balls without me working on it. But so the guy starts out and now they're getting that carry open, they're getting that hip movement. Now they flip, they're coming this way. And now I call ball. And they come and I'm going to try to get them up in the area and make them catch the ball up over their heels. So they do that going both ways. Next thing they do then is they run into crossover. So now they're on one side and now they're running this way. Feet square, shoulders square, looking at the quarterback. They get halfway there, they turn around, running the other way. I call them off and break. Okay? And the last thing, and they go over and back doing that. The last thing they do is they backpedal. And when they backpedal, I make them weave. You know, I'm telling you a few weaves in. So they'll start out and they'll be weaving, they'll backpedal, and then they'll break. And I'll get them straight in. So I know every day they're going to get to catch 8 balls, right? Back and forth. They're going to get to catch at least 8 balls in warm-up. Running full, running hard. I've run them pretty good. They're loosened up. And they're ready for the start of it. Okay? All right. The next thing we do then is we go to our footwork drills. Now, here's something that's a little bit unique, but I really like doing it this way. Number 1 secondary will come up. I do them 4 at a time where I get more work done. Okay, I'm standing here with a football. All right, can y'all see that? Now, I'm standing here with a football like this. All right, I'll pop, they're facing me like this. Excuse me, they're facing this way, like this. I'll stay set. And they'll pop around like that and get in a stance. Now, a lot of people say, well, why do you make them do that? Because the thing that most defensive backs have a hard time doing is doing what? Turning their hips, right? Because most football players are not very flexible in their hips. And so that just gives me that many more opportunities to make them swivel their hips, to turn their hips over, something to loosen their hips up. So they're standing like this, I go set. They are out like this. The first thing we do is backpedal and open and run. So I'm backpedaling. Now, they're going to, it's just like somebody's going deep on it, okay? They're backing up. They're going to throw their arm. Now, here's something that you may or may not have ever tried to do, but I'm convinced it really helps guys open their hips up. All of our drills we do on a line. Because if a guy does what you want him to when he runs, you would like for him to take this foot and put it right there, right? Because that's the shortest distance between 2 points. Now, watch your guys see this happen. Guys will turn to run, and they'll take this foot, and they'll put it out there. Why? Because they can't get their hips open, right? And then their next step, they take a step right here, and then their next step, they're running down the line. Okay? Now, here's something again that I picked up from a friend of mine in Florida State down in Mickey Andrews. Really helps guys get their hips open. You can't, I can't, and I doubt if any of you can, I can't stand right here and put my foot that way, much less doing it back running. Now, what you can do is this. If you want to open your hips up, what you need to do is slightly turn your opposite heel out. It's what I call a heel flick, okay? If I'm backing up and I want to open my hips up, not like this now, they're going to all over-exaggerate. You know what I'm saying? We're going to like that. I'm backing up, I can kick that heel out, and now I can do track, and I'm going to lead, okay? So I back up. I'm going to heel click, and now and as I turn, again, what gets them in trouble is when they turn, what are they going to do? Raise up, right? I'm here, I'm going to heel click, and I'm going to sprint to the hash mark. And these drills now are done to the hash mark. It's just a slight turn out of the opposite heel, okay? All right, now, so the next thing they're going to do is they're going to stand in here, they're going to pop out, they're going to backpedal, and then they're going to run in their crossover to the hash mark. Okay? Then we're going to come back and go over to the hash and back, going the opposite direction. Alright? The next thing they're going to do is they're going to backpedal, and they're going to make a 45-degree break, a 90-degree break out of their crossover. So they're going to backpedal, crossover, and make a 90-degree break. Teaching them that if I want to go there, which foot do I have to come off of? How many guys have you watched try to break off this foot, what's going to happen? They're going to fall down, right? So I'm running in my crossover, I'm going to plant this foot and sprint, okay? I'm going to do that to the right, I'm going to do it to the left. I believe it's critical that they have the tools, the footwork tools, to let them be successful and do what they need to get done, okay? The third thing they're going to do then is they're going to make a 90-degree break out of their back pedal. So I'm backpedaling. Now again, I can't do that. So I'm going to backpedal, I'm going to heel click, I can turn those hips and make a 90-degree break. Okay? Anybody got any questions about any of those drills? Alright, the last one they're going to do like that is what I call the W drill. They're going to backpedal, run out of their back break at a 45-degree angle. They're going to backpedal, run out of their break at a 45-degree angle. They're going to backpedal, run out of their break at a 45-degree angle. Okay? Now sometimes I'll be here with a football and I'll pitch them a ball and they got to pitch it back to me. I pitch it to them again, they got to pitch it back to me, I pitch it to them again. Again, just let them do what? Catch more footballs, right? So I'd be right here, I'd do that, we start backpedaling, he's going to run out his break. He's going to backpedal, he's going to run out his break. He's going to backpedal, he's going to run out his break. Just here, I'm pitching his football. Yeah. We don't plan, we just do this because we're just going to try to throw our chest on the ground and we're going to speed our feet up. We don't really try to plant our toe or our foot. We're just going to run out. What I tell them is you throw your chest on the ground and run your feet so fast that you can't fall. The best way I found from the guys I've studied, the guys I know that I've studied are real good doing it. That's how they do it. Okay. Anything on that? All right, now, the next thing we do then is this drill. It's what I call backpedal, shuffle, crossover, teaching them to regain their balance. So I'm going to start them back. They're going to backpedal full speed, okay? Now they're going to shuffle down in here with their shoulders down. They're not crossing their feet. They're shuffling, shuffling, shuffling. Now, I'm going to say cross. They're going to throw that arm and whip their body and run in the crossover. Now they're going to backpedal, shuffle, crossover. It's like a wave drill for the secondary. See what I'm saying? So it starts out, backpedal, shuffle, crossover, backpedal, shuffle, crossover. And all these are done full speed. They aren't done full speed, they don't count.
One thing that I learned
Alright.
years ago,
Next thing that we go to then is usually we'll go to what I call the pin drill. And all I do is take receivers and set them on about the hash mark usually, a little wider sometimes. Take a DB right there, take a quarterback right there. He's going to run down the boundary, okay? And what I tell the quarterback, DB is, I want you to man turn first and zone turn second. A man turn to me is turning into the receiver. A zone turn is turning into the quarterback, okay? So here's what we want to do. If he's running, let's say he's running down the boundary, I want to get in this with this. I want to be above him, and I want to get this arm right here, and I want to push him right here, and now I want to lean into it and look back at the ball. Okay? Now that's what I call handling the guy. Here's what gets guys in trouble. Is they get here, and the ball's thrown where? Underthrown, right? The underthrow kills you more times than the first one. What I want to do with this arm, if you watch Deion Sanders in the game with Dallas, the guy was here, really. He got this arm here and regained position, right? But what I want to do is I want to slow the guy's route down. So I'm backing up, I open into it, I'm going to try to get right here. Now, I want to look back. It's not passing the fingers, as long as I'm doing what?
Looking back.
You understand what I'm saying? And when I get here, the other thing I want to do is I want to lean into him. And I want to squeeze his air away from him. I don't want to leave him in room to fade away from him. Okay? Now, there's something, guys, about looking in at the quarterback that makes you drift this way. Okay? I don't know why, but I just tell you, for watching guys for a long time, as soon as the guy starts looking in here at the ball, he's got to drop this shoulder and lean into the boundary, or he will do this and create some separation on the receiver. But nothing's going to help you like this does. Nothing's going to help you slow that route down like that does. Okay, so now first we would man turn, okay? The next thing we would do then, we'd have the ball, he'd be backing up. Now he opens up, and now he works his, now he's really got to do work. He's really got to work his hips into the boundary. He's really got to lean that shoulder into the boundary. You see what I'm saying? Because now that receiver's here, right? That receiver's here, and if he's looking back here and he doesn't force his hips into the boundary, he's going to be here and there's going to be some separation. The other thing that players need to understand is this. If there's a lot of room to the sideline, you don't want a zone turn. It's hard to do this very far. You know what I mean? I mean, you need to have them squeezed in there pretty good to open that way. I also tell them this, if I was running like this, and I didn't know where it was, or I felt like there was too much room out there, what should I do? Just turn my head around and find it, right? Everybody understand that? Any questions on that? Okay, so then we go to the pin drill. All right. Then we're going to go hit a while and wake them up. They've been running a little bit. All right, we're going to tackle, and we're going to tackle from 5 to 15 minutes a day, depending on how well I think we're tackling. I think it is important that to be a great defensive team, you've got to be a great tackling team. All right, now, the first tackling drill that we like to do is there's a 5-yard square. Or actually, really the way I do it now, the runner's on about the sideline. There's a cone at the edge of this square. Keep him in bounds. The runner is going to run and break down. I want him to have the ball in that arm, okay? He must stay in bounds. I will not let him go out of bounds. He is going to break down, take a 90-degree step, kiss the football, whip his arms, accelerate his feet. Now, let's go into tackling a little bit. Okay? I'm going to make an open field tackle. The first thing I want to do is to close the distance between you and me as much as I can. Okay? So he's the runner. This guy's going to run about 5 yards. As soon as I break that, you're not going to go. Now, here's what I think you got to do. The worst mistake our guys make open field tackling is this. They want to keep doing this, okay? The closer I get to him, what happens to the angle of the tackle? You understand what I'm saying? In other words, if I keep moving and he breaks, what's happened to the angle that I've got? Now, here's what I really want to do. I want to break down. When he cuts, I want to take a short 90-degree step, which what does that do to his angle?
Cuts it off.
That reduces his angle, right? I want to take a 90-degree step, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to kiss the football. I'm going to put my face and my eyes right on that football. I'm going to throw my uppercuts. I'm going to whip my arms, throw my uppercuts, wrap up, and accelerate my feet on contact. And the first thing I'm going to hit the ground is his earlobe, right back over there. I don't want to go sideways. I don't want to get knocked down. Now, the problem is this. If you get too close and he cuts, what do you hit with? You hit with your head, really, right? And you're gonna take some money there, okay? I want to kiss the football. By kissing the football, it makes my face be up, it gets my head across in front of him, and it makes me tackle where? At ball level, where I want to tackle, right? Now, the next thing that we try to stress in tackling is our arm. The most common mistake our guys make is this. Okay, take your own arms and do this. Just do them like this. Our guys tackle. What happens to your shoulder blade? What happens to your head? Can't help it, can you? Not if you're built like everybody else does. Now, what we want to do is we want to throw 2 uppercuts. We want to throw 2 uppercuts. Now, there's no way, the next hardest thing to get them to do when they tackle is to bring what? Bring their feet, right? There's no way that you will throw 2 uppercuts that you won't bring your butt with you, okay? Now, I believe that you teach by over-exaggeration, okay? I believe that you teach by over-exaggeration. So I want to see them, when we're practicing tackling, I want to see them rip those uppercuts, and I constantly want to talk to them about accelerate your feet on contact, accelerate your feet on contact, hit through the target. Human nature is, when people hit, is that they run, their feet are moving, and they hit, what happens to their feet? They stop, and then what happens to their feet? Hopefully they start back up, right? What you really want is that the moment of impact, that your feet will accelerate, that you're not hitting to the target, that you're hitting through the target. Okay? So that's the first tackling drill we do. Anything about that? Would you give me a catch here, a back catch or something? I'll give you some money when I get through here. Right. All right, now, the next drill that we like to work on in tackling is what I call skate tackling. This is a combination of 2 things. One, it teaches them how to keep their outside arm and leg free and to come off and make a tackle. Okay. All right, now, I always start this drill by holding the blockers. Come here, coach. You do the blocker right here. Right here. Stand up. Second guy. Come back there and be the third guy. Right there. All good. All right, come here. I'll be the guy. Now, here's what's going to happen. Or I'll hold it. Come here, big T. Now, here's what's going to happen. He's going to start out. He's in a stance and a 9 technique. Defensive back, lineman, we do it with our whole football team. He's going to try to take his head and drive it about 6 inches above his kneecap. Okay? Until they learn how to do this drill, I I'm going to stand here and hold him till he got it. Push him when I want him to go. Because what you don't want to have happen, you don't want this guy to worry about putting off him. Worry about that next guy and then get his leg. You know, now later, right now, I don't even mess with them. They know when to go. Teach him how to do it. If you come on, here's what I'm going to do. I want to step in this foot. I want to take my hand, thumbs up, hit him in the head with my outside knee. He can't get his head by my knee. He can't block it. Okay? I want to get this in any part of his body. And if it's good, it's going to hit this part of his body. It's going to come around and try to pin my leg, right? So I'm going to push him to the ground and get my leg out of there. As soon as he comes off the next block is coming.
You take that story back.
Here's what I want. I want to look at it. I want to bump up. Get him in the head and around. Push his hand. Work up the field. Come to the ball. Now, here's his football. Just like it. Right? So what I have to do, I have to protect my legs. Protect my legs. Again, I want to be working uphill. Okay? I don't want to be going flat. Thank you. He comes, I'm going to work up. He comes, I'm working up. He comes, I'm going to wrap him up. I don't want to be playing this way. Now, the keys are this. Look at the blocker. Hit his hat with your outside hand. Keep your outside leg back. Okay, and then we do it going the other way. Do they get knocked down? Yeah, sometimes. Now, we will do this drill in shorts. Now, when we do it in shorts, I make the blocker dive at the ground about 8 inches outside the guy that's blocking. You know what I'm saying? Not really try to go get him in the leg. When we're going the other way, then we get him in the leg. Okay? Does everybody understand anything on that? I got it? Okay, I'll show you another drill that we like to do that I think is a great drill. It's what I call